Hi, we're still here with Extrait and X.4v. We're here with Mr. Tom Marsh from Floris. Hi.
Hello, very pleased to meet you.
So, let's talk about Floris, one of the most reputed brands in artistic perfumery. So, could you give us some details about the line, even if we do know the line very well?
Sure, well, Floris has a wonderful heritage. The business was started in 1730, and we remain as a family-owned company, currently run by the 8th generation, with 6 members of the 9th generation currently learning the business. We take a great pride in our heritage, and everything we do, we learn from the previous generation, and we try and stay true to their ideals that they've passed throughout the years. We've also had a link with the royal family throughout most of our history, and we've held a number of royal warrants, 16 in total. We currently hold 2 royal warrants. We're appointed perfumers to the Queen of England and suppliers of toiletry products to Prince Charles. And that's given us a wonderful opportunity this year, being the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, her 60th year on the throne. We've created a special fragrance for her called Royal Arms.
Okay, let's talk about these new fragrances.
So Royal Arms, we looked back at our history for inspiration when we were trying to come up with an idea of what we would present the Queen for her special year. And there was a recipe called Royal Arms in one of our old formula books, dated 1926, which was the year that the Queen was born. So we thought, what a wonderful fragrance to take from the past and bring it into today's age. So we tried to stay true to the original recipe, but obviously some ingredients are no longer usable. So we had to sort of be a little bit clever about trying to recreate old notes like the natural musks. And we've come up with the Royal Arms you can see over here on the left. It's built around a heart of rose, which is the Queen of Flowers, very appropriate for the Queen of England. And then we've added some notes of iris and jasmine to give it a really regal floral bouquet. We've also added a touch of violet leaf, which just gives it quite a distinctive scent. And in the base, we've put some nice soft musks and incense just to give it a sort of nostalgic, powdery feel. And we believe it's a fragrance that's fit for the Queen of England. We're going to present her a special bottle that was in our museum, an antique crystal bottle. We've put a diamond around the neck, naturally, for the Diamond Jubilee, into a lovely handmade wooden box. And we'll be presenting that to the Queen shortly as a present and as a thank you for her support over the years by giving Floris her royal seal of approval.
So let's say that Floris is among the best companies and the best artistic perfumery brands. So why does a brand like Floris that has a long history could be appealing for the new generation? How and why it's so contemporary, being so historical?
That's a good question. I think it's wonderful to have a history and a heritage. But as a brand, you've always got to look forward. You wouldn't want to be outdated. So we always respect our history, and I think that gives us a certain authenticity that, you know, throughout 282 years, 9 generations of family have trained, have learnt the art, have been passionate about carrying the business on. So in itself, that gives the modern company a great footing, full of people who know what they're doing. And as well as being inspired by recipes from the past, we also like to look at creating new fragrances. And that actually leads us on to another fragrance that we're launching later this year. We were inspired by the Olympics, the spirit of togetherness, of unity. So we've created a fragrance called Victorious, which you can just see over here. Victorious being a great name for people competing. Obviously, everyone wants to win. And when we were thinking about how to commemorate such a special occasion, the spirit of unity and people coming together really gave us the story for the fragrance. So I guess in relation to perfume, you have fragrance families. And often a perfumer will mix perhaps 2 or 3 fragrance families together. We decided to take 5 fragrance families, the marine, citrus, floral, oriental, and the woody, and blended them all together in what's a really interesting fragrance, and something I think is actually quite unique. I don't know many fragrances that have such a complex composition of notes. And the wonderful thing about the fragrance is, wearing it on the skin, each fragrance family will develop over the course of the day. So no family actually gets lost. They all work in harmony, which again brings us back to the idea of the London Olympics, everyone coming together and creating something special and greater than the sum of the individual parts. So I think it's an example that we can be creative and do new fragrances. So I guess heritage and always having an eye on the future is what we like to do as a company.
Thank you, but we have more questions for you. Can you tell us about your favorite raw material, the one you want to use for your next perfume?
Well, my personal favorite is sandalwood. I really love the warmth and the depth. I love the way it develops on the skin, a very comforting note, very sensual note. So if it was up to me, we'd put sandalwood in every fragrance, but other people might consider that a little bit boring. One note we have used in Victorious this year is cumin, a wonderful spicy note. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the smell of cumin. And that's an ingredient as well I don't think has been used in many fragrances. And our perfumer just thought it just adds a certain interest. But we're always looking at new notes to use. But it wouldn't just be for the sake of using something new. I think when we're looking at creating a fragrance, we always come up with the story and the inspiration before we create the fragrance. And then we find appropriate notes, and that might be notes that everyone knows about, such as rose, jasmine, iris, or it might be notes that have been very rarely used or not used in perfume at all. But what's important to us is that the end product fits why we started to make it, and it's consistent with the whole development process.
Okay, thank you so much to Mr. Tom Marsh for being here with Extrait and Essence. Thank you.
Thanks very much. It's wonderful to be here, and I wish you a great exhibition.
Thank you.